you know. So, like, there was this cop, you know, there was a rookie cop with him. Like, he came over there. He said, don't y'all supposed to be in the school? He said, you know, the late bell ain't ring yet. He said, well, you know, get the hell out of here, you know. So we said, all right. So we stopped walking, you know. Like, he ran up to me and he grabbed me and he pushed me on the garbage can. You know, even though I was walking away, he said, didn't you hear what I said, you know, just to show the rookie cop that he said, this is how you're supposed to treat these punks here. Like they said, you know, you gotta treat them some manners, you know, show them some respect or something.
We had a case yesterday. There was two teenagers on Longwood Avenue. He behind him and smacked him in the head with a rock. Put a big hole in his head. Here's the man, 78 years old. How much of a struggle could he put up, right? Especially for two kids that are 18 years old. They get the strength of a mule, for crying out loud. Then they have to turn around and hit him on the head. There's no sense to it.
Like one time, you know, I was going to the park, you know, one night, and I was walking by the lake. I dug the cops sitting in the car, and they were sleeping, and one of them was reading the paper, and the other one was talking. So, you know, I just kept on walking by.
You got to take into consideration it's a violent life. And every time you're involved in a situation, you never really know what will occur. All the things that have happened to you and the possibilities of you getting killed or hurt, man. You sit down and think after 20 years and say, damn, I must be crazy.
Cops goes up in the park, you know, they like have girls up in the park, rapping to them, you know, and they like be sitting in the car, drinking, doing everything in the park, you know, behind the park and whatnot. Cops ain't nothing nowadays.
This is Saturday morning, and these young men are waiting for a bus in front of the 41st Precinct House in New York City's South Bronx. Along with 10 patrolmen, they are engaged in an experimental police program, which, like other programs in other cities, is designed to narrow the gap between police and young people. The bus will take them for a weekend to a summer camp, away from the pressures of familiar territory, where they may meet informally. A group dialogue session is scheduled for later this night. With their permission, we have interviewed the police and the young men on the Wednesday and Thursday preceding, and we have filmed the weekend itself. Not to promote the program, but to understand the problems which have prompted it.
Yo, the world is falling, death is calling. I don't know, MCs be brawling. On the mic, when I get hyped, whatever you want, yo, whatever you like. Bite on my style, I like that. Yo, here's your feedback with one smack. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No time to be playing, cause these niggas be delaying. Word, yo, when I get busy, here and over there to New York City. One for one, one for all. I'm on the wall, my back is on the wall.
Such a pity that living in the city is like living in the times of Frank Nitty.
Walk in the tunnels of hell, the next level. The end of the time, so I got to get mine.
Such a pity that living in the city is like living in the times of Frank Nitty.
Walk in the tunnels of hell, the next level. The end of the time, so I got to get mine. Yo, it's a wonderful world, a world of wonder. I thunder and thunder, I won't go under, won't get in a trap. I'm past all that. You stupid motherfucker, my rhyme is fat. Fat as can be on the MIC, in the place to be. If you can't see, you don't know, then go ask your mama. Eating them seeds live like Jeffrey Dahmer. One for one, one for all. I'm on the wall, I'm on the wall.
That's for the seeds in the streets, rockin', rugged and hard. Innocent bystanders getting popped and scarred. Niggas not keeping it real and they will get barred. 5-0 on my back thinking that they get guard. Brothers keep on dividing and we won't get far. The devil's on some slick shit ready to hold us down. But I maintain my focus and just hold the fort down. You all know a situation, funny thing like this. Unsuspicious yellow cab riding through the east. A stereotype brother, make the undercover wonders. Got lawyers all in the east ready to shine my light. Nutcracker get them woke before he sparks the night. For my brothers and my sisters in the street doing the thing. My back's against the wall, I can't do a damn thing. Yo, I'm up against the wall.
What we try to do is to select those youngsters that we feel are opinion makers in the community. Kids who play leadership roles. kids who influence the attitudes of other kids. For example, equally acceptable would be the captain of a local high school football team and the leader of a local corner gang, because in their own way, they each play a critical leadership role among the kids in the neighborhood. Many kids were reluctant to participate in the program because of their own perhaps a fear of the police, perhaps a kind of general distrust of authority. And yet, obviously, these were the very kids who could be most beneficial in the program. The kid who is a bit distrustful, the kid who's questioning.
I mean, look, man, one of these is enough. 5 is too much. Now, what's your sister? She goes out tonight. What's she going to wear?
The policemen who participated in the program were all volunteers. In other words, we didn't want the specialist. We didn't want the policeman who had been selected because of his sensitivity for youth. We wanted the guy who walks the beat, who operates the sector car, the man who has the problems with young people, because we felt his response and his input to the program would be real.
That's all I'm saying. Please, y'all, let the fun go by.
We can get the youngsters participating in the program to recognize that not all cops are against them, that not all policemen can be recognized as their enemy, and if we can also get them to see a little bit about how the policeman feels, what kind of a job he has and how he feels about doing it, the pressures that he faces in his job, and reciprocally, if at the same time, and both have to go together. It's critical that learning occur on both sides. If we can get the policeman to recognize that not all kids are hostile and arrogant, and also to recognize how the youngster feels in a neighborhood like this, what kinds of pressures he faces. In sum, if we can get both groups to look at each other a little more in terms of reality, a little more realistically, we've accomplished a great deal. Obviously, we haven't solved the whole problem.
I had a sister, Sally. She was ugly and misshapen. By the time that she was 16 years old, she was taken. By the time that she was 19, a son and a daughter, Sarah's nearly 29. Hasn't had an offer, come a lancer, a binsman, a tinker, or a tailor, doctor, a lawyer, soldier, or a sailor.
Some cops are understanding, you know. Like if you be walking down the street and all of a sudden something happens, might pull you into the store, you know, so not to embarrass you or anything, and pull you into the store and talk to you and tell you what's wrong and what's right. So like you might come up to one of these cops and just push you and what you trying to do and all that. Because they think that everybody's out here trying to do wrong. Which everybody ain't out here trying to do wrong. Some people out here trying to do good. But cops don't understand that. The cop will walk up on you and say, you did this and you did that, but you didn't do nothing.
They should be like us, you know. I mean, just because they're cops, you know, they think like they're different from us, they're better than us. Doesn't make them better than us. That's how come I like some cops. They treat us like we was one of them, you know. Some cops just, you know, treat us like we was something else altogether.
Hey, let us know.
Falling out right here. Okay, fall in.
Hey, boys, there are canoes. If you don't swim, don't go out in the canoes. If you don't swim, use the rowboats. There are animals. Most of the animals are pregnant, getting ready to have little babies. No, they don't bite. But you'll see 2 little ponies. Try not to chase the ponies around. They've just been born. 3 others are getting ready. Maybe when you're up here, they'll be born.
Oh, LBJ.
Hold on like this, booby. Like this.
Hold on tight, Booby, with both hands.
Take him out in the field.
I am.
Don't be a fool.
Don't be scared of him.
He's after me.
I rolled it. Don't pull me. What am I going to do? Right. all. They're all broke. Help, man. Don't leave me here stranded. Oh, wow. I'm tired of this joke. You gotta help me now. Come on, just hold on. Come on, just hold on. You got it. Now stand up. Stand up, man. All right. You got a paddle for that? Or you lost that? I give up, man. I ain't willing out.
Like, you know, they stop you, and like, let's say I'm a colored guy, right? And it's a white cop. He gonna start, you know, laughing at you, cracking jokes. Like, if he would've caught a white boy, he wouldn't have done that. Now, you know, I'm not trying to say that all white cops are kind of like prejudiced, but some of them are.
Some Spanish cops, I feel that they're better for me, you know.
Why do you think that's true?
You know, suppose they catch us, they won't rough us up, you know. Like, if they catch us, they just take us and bring us to the prison, and that's it, you know. I mean, you know, probably some other race, you know, cops from other races will do the same, but some won't. Some, they don't have to hit you, but they'll hit you anyway just to be spiteful.
I don't believe it. Now, I'm not going to say, I've committed myself by saying there's 28,000 cops and not everybody's 100%. There's got to be guys that are racist. No, the issue I'm trying to bring about is that I would venture to say 99% of the cases, no matter black, white, green, yellow, orange, race is not an issue.
You know, when like a Negro person get in trouble, you know, it's all broadcast or something. Or when a white kid gets shot or something, you know, everything is broadcast. But when a colored kid gets shot, you know, he just got shot. That's it, you know. He's just one loss, you know. That's one more they don't have to bother with. That's the way it is.
Because the white have money, you know. Some whites have money. Like, take Rockefeller, for instance. Like, if his son get busted, they're going to say, what's your name? And he's going to say, Rockefeller. My name, you know, I'm Rockefeller's son. So he going to dial up Rockefeller, you know. And he going to talk to Rockefeller. And Rockefeller he going to say, like, I'll pay you off, you know, if you don't put him, you know, put his name out, you know. Like, take, what's that dude that got busted? His son got busted,
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, his son got busted. And he couldn't do nothing, you know, because even though he was a great baseball player, they called him up and they still scandalized his son's name all through the paper that he was shooting drugs.
But everybody who's white isn't a Rockefeller.
No, I'm just saying, you know, money talks.
Well, it's your pick.
I just took the lieutenant.
Okay, I'll take this fellow over here with the fancy vest.
Is there anybody out Ranch Hill? We'll take him next. Don't pick him. Patrolman Curran, would you like to play?
I really would, yes.
Okay. Okay, you got him, Gallagher.
Thanks a lot. No. That's a friendly game, I hope.
Yes, not one of those vindicative things. All right, I go.
There's no Coke bottle.
What's your name again? Here comes Stan. We got George.
Now you got a winning team.
George, good to catch you.
Can I play?
The guy with the glove.
Can I play? I got cat.
Oh, no, I got Emmanuel.
Ivito him.
Come on, baby! Oh! That's it! Go on,
Home run!
I saw it. I was the biggest.
Come on, Richie! Hit Donadonna! Come on!
Other way! Nice catch there, Frankie!
You know, like some cops, you know, they straight with you, you know. You know, they grew up the same way. You know, they're gonna tell you how things are. You know, they're gonna say, well, I grew up in a rough neighborhood and I can see how you feel, you know, see why you do these things, you know. But other cops, you know, that grew up, you know, in rich neighborhoods or something like that, like the white cops, you know, they ain't gonna tell you like that, you know, they're gonna take you in the hallway or something, hit you with the club, you know, and say, get the hell out of there, you know.
They live in better environments than we do. We live in slum areas where we gotta, you know, sometimes steal for money and, you know, do a lot of bad things. But then they got everything. They got bikes. They got Their father and mother got about 2 or 3 cars.
And if they had any understanding for us, they'd say, don't do it again, you know? And if you catch the guy, we'll tell him, you know, stop doing it, you know? But instead they tell me, if I ever catch you around here doing this shit again.
Yeah, I felt I was the loneliest man in the world because, first of all, I was scared. You know, maybe a job might come around that I might not be able to handle, and...
Then I know that they know nothing about us. We don't even belong around here because they'd understand that if we're doing it, we're gonna do it all over again.
And I find that a whole lot of people have hostile acts towards you. Like they'll stare you down, you know, like you standing there in the street, you know, looking around. And these people automatically have a hostile thing about them, you know what I mean? And they'll look at you like you did something to them. You never seen these people before in their life.
And you go up the roof, smoking pot, some people down there, and then a few roofs back, guys sniffing glue. Then a little more down, the junkies. Same thing everywhere. You won't, it's no different around here. Go to New Jersey, everything's clean. You find private houses all over the place. They raise their children fine, you know. Some become cops. They find that their environment is all different from around here. They want to be stuck down there, you know, with the nice people, you know, and they don't have so much work. When they get stuck down here, they say, well, you know, let's try to clean it up our own way. And they take it out on the people who do something wrong.
In reality, I'm living in a Puerto Rican and black community 8 hours a day. I live there. I eat there. I see their social functions. I understand the way things happen. What to me was ridiculous and a terrible way to act becomes commonplace now. Now I realize the problem.
You know what I think it is? I think you get over the fear of the Negro people. Because I think basically the white people are afraid of the Negro people. But if you live in the neighborhood like we work there, I'm there 8 hours a day. Now I know it. I lost my fear of it now. You know, I've learned more. I've matured. Let's face it, if you put 5 years in the police force, 5 years in the police force in a busy precinct, you know more, you have seen more than the average person will see in his whole life.
Haven't you guys ever considered being cops?
No.
No.
I've considered it, you know, but really, I mean, like, you see them complaining about they don't get enough pay and this and that, you know. So I said, I ain't gonna be no cop.
Like a lot of cops, you know, they like to throw their weight around, you know.
Yeah,
beat on them,
true.
like around our school, man.
What school is that?
136.
What about 136?
They got about 4 or 5 rookies walking around there, 3, 4, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's one rookie and one patrolman, you know. And like this guy, the patrolman, he's always like, he sees somebody, you know, like they do, you know, like pick up a piece of dirt off a car, you know, like he want to fight him and say, you know, like I'm gonna put my foot up all your black ass and all, and call us niggas and everything. And you know, like you better get your black behinds in the school, you know. And I don't like it, man.
Did you ever think that maybe he's real new to the job and he might be scared? He don't know what he's doing? You move in a new neighborhood, you're gonna have your problems. Well, that guy is brand new to your neighborhood, don't know nothing, don't know how to act. You might be the first Puerto Rican guys you ever seen, or the first Negro guys you ever seen. Not impossible in New York City. We're getting guys from Rye, New York. We're getting guys from upstate. Even guys from Pelham Bay, never associated with no Negro or Puerto Rican. Okay? I know my first night, when I first got to the precinct, they put me out at the school, special to what school is that? The Avenue St. John and...
PS52.
Avenue St. John and Kelly Street?
Right.
I took 2 guns out there. Because we all heard the 41st precinct. It was terrible. And I was scared. And I walked around the street with 2 guns and felt like a damn fool. What am I going to do with 2 guns? I didn't even need 1. All I had was a bunch of kids playing ball in the schoolyard. And before I even had to tell them to go home, they were gone. But you're pretty scared and pretty lonely.
Because what they teach you in the academy is not like it's out in the street. Maybe up in the 45th precinct where things are nice and it goes nice. But in a 4-1 precinct, it's a different world. And when you go out there, you're scared because you don't know what to do. People come up and ask you questions. You stand there like an idiot. Well, gee, what do I do now? You know, you really don't know. It takes experience. So when you first go out there, you're like a lamb. pull right out to slaughter. They send you right out in the street and they say, you make the decision. And you stand there like an idiot. What am I going to do now?
Other cases like when people get hit by a car and you call the cops or you call an ambulance or something, be a half hour before they get there. And supposedly the same thing with the cop, be a half hour. You don't know where he be at.
The police and the...
So both of them.
Can I 146th Street and answer there?
Can I
Nah, man. On 146th Street and answer there.
Imagine this happening. You're dealing with the telephone company. You drop your dime in, right? Say perhaps you call the operator, right? It doesn't happen on the spur of the moment, right? Your call has to be answered. It's answered by the operator there. In turn, now she has to get in touch with the police, right? So there's another phone call involved, right? And there's time involved. It's not like a minute. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that's what, you know, I think there's more a question of understanding.
We have an answer. Why not?
All right.
You have to give them an answer.
Yeah, I think they're the wrong answers. Because, let me ask, does that satisfy you? You feel are you convinced? Because I don't think I'd be convinced if I were you. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm serious because, what was he trying to tell us? What he was saying is that he thinks the cops in his community don't give a shit about the community. That's what he was saying. And we were responding by telling him about numbers of radio cars. We're telling him about, how the code signals. But that doesn't answer his question. His question, and it's not really a question at all. It's a statement. He's saying the cops that I see, I think, don't give a damn about the community. The only way we can respond to that is to tell him, and it's no good to talk about people who aren't here. The only way we could change that is by showing him that some cops in this room do feel.
I can tell him of times I take women or kids in a radio car, like when my heart is hurt because a kid gets run down, or I see somebody hurt, or I'll rush because somebody's getting stuck up. I can tell him that forever. But if he chooses to believe that I sit in the radio car and drink coffee, what can I do to prove not to? How do you think you'd feel towards a policeman's job? You want to know how I felt? I take it as a job, a damn good job. I like the salary. I can make as good a salary working construction. But I have to come up here on a weekend when I'm in construction. I didn't have to come up here, but I come up here because I want to. I got 2 kids of my own at home I could be with. It's funny, like, a cop's job is not just, okay, here's we're paying you $10,000 to go do your job, or $4,000 or $20,000. That ain't what it is. If you don't want to be, if you can't be a cop here, if you don't have it in you to be a cop, then you don't belong on the street. We got 28,000 men. I'll give you 8,000 don't belong on the street, but you got 20,000. They feel for the job. You got 10 guys in your crowd. 1 guy's a bum. The lady across the street says your whole crowd is bums.
What do you gotta have to be a good cop?
There's only one thing you gotta have to be a good cop. You gotta have a heart. But you gotta be, at times, you gotta be a bitch. At times, you gotta come on like a mean man.
Oh, you told me one time, man.
If I passed you, I'll tell you, now, and I feel toward the job. If I passed you and told you, come on, fellas, move. Okay, officer, we're moving. Straight, right? And I walk away and I come back a half hour later and you didn't move. Oh, I look like a damn dummy. And when I come now, I'm gonna tell you move, or I'm gonna put my foot in your ass. And if you think I'm wrong, you're wrong, bro. Well,
you don't have to.
Why do you think? I came by, I said, listen, fellas, move.
Okay, now we ain't did nothing wrong here. I mean, like, we're just standing there, Now, what reason is that to put your foot up on?
I asked you to move.
Okay, right? Now.
You said, okay, boy, I'm gonna move. Now I come back later, you're making a fool out of me. And I got a face to keep up. Like, if they put me on a block, and I tell a bunch of guys to move, and I come back on that block and they didn't move, it's going to be tougher for me to move you tomorrow.
Respect from them.
Twice as hard to move me the next day if I don't move them. They're going to say, that punky cop, man, we shit all over him. We tell him he's nothing.
But what I'm saying is I don't like the idea of, like, hitting them. I mean, like, unless he hits you, I don't go along with that.
If I come by and ask you to move, and you say, I'm going to move, and then I come back later and you didn't move, now what do you have over? Supposing it was you to me. Now, how do you move me now?
What can I do?
Now you're going to say,
like I'm saying,
come on, fellas, please?
I don't see any reason why I'm hitting them.
I'll ask you. You came by, you chased me. I said, okay, we're moving. Now you came by a half hour later and we're still there. Now, how do you move me? Just tell me, how would you move me?
I really don't know, man.
Well, I told you, there's only one way to move after I already was nice. The only way to move now is to threaten you. And plus, if you don't do it then, when I threaten you, I got no choice but to do what I threatened. Otherwise, I'm really finished.
What I think you're getting at is that a cop takes care of his own.
Right.
In other words, cops protect cops.
I mean that a cop has more authority than you, because he is a policeman.
What do you mean, more authority than...
Yeah, he is a bit higher than you. Because he is regarded as your protector. Yeah, he's regarded as your protector. He's supposed to be all good.
He's someone to look up to.
Yeah. Right.
He's supposed to be God.
And yet, when you say something against him, it's your words. Something lower than him against his words, something higher than him.
No, you have a misconception there. When he goes into court, now when he gets up there and testifies, I saw this man do this, right? Now, the guy gets up and says, that cop is a liar. Because that's what it comes to in court. When you testify in court, it's your word against the other guy. How come sometimes that guy wins? So you can't say that the cop's word is law, that if a cop opens his mouth, everybody's got to listen to because this man tells the truth. It's not so. The courts don't believe it, and you shouldn't believe it.
You know, here's a fellow who says that the cop is a man who's higher than you, someone whose word is believed, someone who can screw around with him and have immunity.
We're talking about my being above him as far as authority goes, because when it comes right down to it, my word has to go above his, because if I tell him to move and he tells me no, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to walk away? Or does my word have to be the authority over yours?
Well, I meant that, you know, it's true that they have authority and all. They're supposed to, because their main thing is to try to protect us. But then, what if they do something wrong, and when we go to tell them that they're wrong, we can't, because their authority is higher than ours, and ours has nothing against them.
It's not that you can't, you can.
Yes, we can. But how do we know that it can stand up to whatever you say?
It stands up. All I can tell you is it's the truth. It stands up. Don't go to a cop.
Don't go to a cop. Go to a higher cop. Right? I have a force.
Call downtown.
Right? So now my authority has a higher authority.
Tell you what, invent a complaint, see if they don't listen.
Invent a complaint, put a complaint in
against
one.
Me. Drop it on my name.
Without nothing.
And see if they don't listen.
And see if they don't listen. See what happens.
I know it.
10 hippies in Central Park smoking reefer, right? And then there's 10 Negroes or Puerto Ricans smoking reefer in Katona Park, right? And you call a cop. Who you think they're gonna go to first? Who you think they're gonna pick up first?
All you're getting at is that you feel there's a certain amount of prejudice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're right.
So, you know, like one day, like I was coming up on 167th Street in the concourse, you know, getting off the train by the courthouse. I was going to see my probation officer. Like, you know, there's a YMCA, and so, like, about 10 hippies came out the YMCA, you know. So, like, they jumped me, you know. You know what the cop did? He grabbed me like this hand, he threw me on the car. How come he didn't pull down?
Can't answer.
I wasn't there. He was supposed to grab down and pull in.
Yeah, but he grabbed me and he threw me on the car.
He was wrong, but I wasn't there.
And so, like, my mama took me to the precinct, and she's talking to the captain, and the captain said something, and he said, drop it, throw it out the window like that.
Why do you know he grabbed you out of the other kids?
I don't know.
What are your feelings?
All the other kids white?
Yeah.
And why?
Cop white?
Yeah.
Cop was prejudiced.
You know, that's what I mean. The kids are prejudiced against the white cops, you know, the colored kids are prejudiced against the white cops, and the white cops are prejudiced against the colored kids, you know. You know, like, if a colored cop walk up to a bunch of colored kids, you know, and he tell them to move, they move, right? But like, if a white cop would walk up to a colored kid, you know, they stand up there, you know, give him some beef, you know. Give him a hard time to go, man.
Why?
Because he's white. Because he's white, you know, they prejudiced. You know, there's prejudice on both sides.
What do they think when they do that? You know, what does a Negro kid feel when a white cop tells him to move?
Well, you know, he feel like I ain't no slave, you know, and I ain't gonna let him tell me what to do, you know. He not my father, something like that, you know. Yeah, so I can stand, you know, it ain't his property like that there, you know. He gonna stand there, you know, and he gonna back to him, you know. When the Negro cop talk to you, you know, like, you feel like he telling you for your own good, you know. Like a white cop, you walk up and you say, move, and he tries to tell you the same thing. You say, nah, you're not my father, I'm not going no place, right? That, you know, that's what I'm trying to say. There's prejudice on both sides.
Do you think you can answer me a question?
Feeling the way you do, like you're just saying about the colored cop and the white cop. Now, knowing Mike, Bimbo, Sam, and myself. Now, if the whole group is around the corner and we got a job that we had to chase you know, that just had to make it someplace else. If we were to come over and to ask you to move, would you move or would you stay?
If I know you right, you know, I ain't gonna stand up there, you know, and make a fool out of myself. You know, I'm gonna go on.
You know, like I know you now, you know. Like if something like that happened, you know, since I known you, I'd move. You know, you told me how you feel about it, and I told you how I feel about it. We sort of like understand each other.
Now you see me more as a human being.
I'll tell you, before I came to one of these trips, I was afraid of cops. I wouldn't dare say anything in front of a cop, because I think he'd bounce me all over the board. And I'm still scared of cops, but I have more understanding to what they're doing. You know, because they show that cops aren't all bad.